Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to be giving you some of my initial thoughts and analysis on two newly shown Transformers live action movie studio series reveals. Now these reveals came to us as part of this week's Fan First Friday. Now to be honest with you, I personally was not expecting any studio series reveals for this Friday. I actually only thought that we were going to be seeing the Transformers and Ghostbuster collaboration reveal. However, when we actually did get some of the official images of some of the new upcoming movie figures, I have got to say that I was most certainly struck, and one of the reveals in particular I'm pretty sure has made many movie fans extremely happy, myself included. So as mentioned, both of these reveals are indeed based upon the live action movies and not that of the 86 studio series line. So once again it does appear as if though we are going to be seeing waves of only 86 movie figures and then waves of live action movie figures. In this wave there is also that studio series Bumblebee movie Starscream. However, I won't be covering that in all that much detail in this video, as I have already previously given that figure its own thoughts and analysis video, so be sure to check that out if you wish to hear my thoughts on that figure. So without further ado, let's get into the reveals. And so kicking the reveals off, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Cybertronian Bumblebee, or as Hasbro are referring to him as B-127. Now this figure, to be honest with you, was one that I think that pretty much all of us expected. This is just basically a simple repaint and slight retool of that of the Cybertronian Cliffjumper that we got earlier on in the year, and you all know my thoughts on that figure. It was actually one of my least favourite figures of this year, and if Hasbro do not tighten up the tolerances on the mould for B-127, I am pretty sure that this figure here will also be one of my least favourites to come out of 2021. But taking a look at what we actually do get here with these promo images, you can see that this has been completely painted in order to match Bumblebee's appearance, and I've got to say that in my opinion I think that the colour scheme of Bumblebee actually suits this mould really nicely. I think that out of the two we see Bumblebee more in his Cybertronian form than we actually did get of Cliffjumper, so that's probably why I'm warming a little bit more to this particular figure. But the yellow as well as the gunmetal that we have got going on there for the thighs, in my opinion at least, I think looks really nice. Something worth noting is that for this figure we have an entirely new head sculpt, that being Bumblebee's battle mask. Now for those of you who recall, we don't ever actually see Bumblebee in his Cybertronian form with the battle mask. However, if you do have the off-road Bumblebee, you will know that the off-road Bumblebee shares very similar engineering, and I actually do believe that the neck of off-road Bumblebee is the same as that of the Cybertronian Cliffjumper, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to pop the head of this figure and peg it onto the off-road Bumblebee and vice versa. So personally for me, I'm really looking forward to seeing as to how the battle mask looks on off-road B and then how the normal face looks on this mould. But in terms of a robot mode, I think that it looks rather nice. Of course this mould does have a lot of kibble on it, however as we don't really see Bumblebee in this form all that much in the movie, I personally am not all that fussed about. You can see that he will indeed include his blaster. The head sculpt for sure though is definitely the major standout for me in terms of this particular release, at least here in his robot mode. And so taking a look here at the image we have of Bumblebee in his Cybertronian vehicle mode, I actually really like this. I actually prefer the look of the vehicle mode than the robot mode, which is actually a rare instance for me, as usually I prefer the figures in their robot modes. But if you will recall from my Cliffjumper review, I did actually say that one of the main saving attributes of that figure was that of the vehicle mode, and this time done in the Bumblebee colour scheme, I think that it looks absolutely fantastic and actually makes more sense for Bumblebee, as of course we never see Cliffjumper transform in the movie. But taking a look here, the paint apps definitely look incredibly fresh. Something in which does look slightly odd to me is that the colour of yellow plastic and the colour of yellow paint definitely doesn't appear from this promo image to match up, and I really am hoping that it's not the same case as we got with that of the Earthrise Sunstreaker. It certainly does look like it here from some of the promo images. However, this figure isn't scheduled to be released until next April, so there is definitely time for them to adjust the actual paint applications of this figure. But overall, I certainly think that it's a nice figure, and as stated before, the heads I'm pretty certain will be compatible with that of the off-road Bumblebee. So if you wish to have a battle mask on that figure and then the normal face on this figure, I definitely think that it'll be a nice upgrade. And judging by some of these images, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to be a bad figure, but just judging by my experience with Cliffjumper, I'm definitely not looking forward to this figure here the most. And so moving on here to the second reveal, and which is no doubt probably one of the best studio series reveals that we have ever gotten from the line so far, we finally can add a studio series Dino to our collections. Movie fans have wanted the character of Dino made by Hasbro for so many years. He was actually one of the only characters from the DOTM movie never to have an actual plastic figure. I do believe that we did get a very tiny Legends class figure, however that was just merely a repaint of a Legends class sideways, and whilst not 100% perfect, I certainly do believe that this looks like it's going to be a fantastic deluxe class. Now before we actually take a look at the robot mode and the vehicle mode, something in which I must state straight away is that this figure unfortunately doesn't transform into that of a licensed Ferrari. So the rumours back in the day stating that Hasbro were unable to make Dino due to licensing issues definitely does appear as if though it was the truth, as this figure, whilst it does have a fairly similar looking vehicle mode, it isn't licensed by Ferrari. Ferrari. But taking a look here at the robot mode, this is truly where the figure shines. He looks so accurate to what we actually saw in the film. You can see that the head sculpt in particular, in my opinion, is potentially one of the best movie head sculpts that we have ever gotten. I love the placement there of the doors on the back, very similar to how they were in the movie, and I think that for the most part, at least from the front, the robot mode kibble does clean up impeccably well. We also do have those collarbone pieces that go around where Dino's head sculpt is, and once again, I think that that looks very accurate to what we got in the film. I love the contrast there between the reds and the blacks and the greys. I think that that all works out really nicely, and just overall, as many of you are, I'm just absolutely blown away that we are indeed going to be adding a deluxe Dino to our Movieverse collection. So with this figure being announced, could we perhaps be seeing a DevCon? Anything is likely with the Studio Series line, especially with the announcement of the 86 movie figures. I definitely think that they could give us so many more characters. But getting back onto the figure, it does appear as if though he is going to have a faux chest. However, judging from how he looked in the movie, I think that it would have been rather difficult to actually replicate that if they were to actually use the real vehicle mode components. But overall, I think that the design here for his robot mode is pretty much spot on, and I just once again cannot wait to add this figure here to my collection. And so taking a look here at Dino in his vehicle mode, as mentioned earlier on in this video, unfortunately it is not officially licensed by Ferrari. However, I personally don't believe that Hasbro would make this figure unless they had tried almost everything to actually get the Ferrari license. So at the end of the day, I'm just personally glad that we are going to be getting an official Dino by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, and the robot mode in my opinion really does look stellar, and the vehicle mode, whilst not actually being licensed by Ferrari, in my opinion is a close enough representation, and I'm pretty sure that many movie fans will be happy with the robot mode and that the vehicle mode looks almost like it did in the movie. You can see that we do have some really nice looking sharp details at the front section of the vehicle mode. We've got some really nice silver paint applications there for the rims, and we can also see some transparent black plastic at the actual rear end of the vehicle mode as well. So overall, despite not being 100% accurate to the movie, I certainly believe that Hasbro have done their best with what they were given. And so those were my initial thoughts and analysis on the newly shown Transformers Studio Series figures. Whilst it wasn't an entire wave and we are still missing some Voyagers, Deluxes and even the Leader Class assortment from the 2021 live action assortment, I think that what we have been shown so far looks really promising, especially where Dino and the Bumblebee movie Starscream are concerned. The B-127 figure, whilst I personally was not a fan of that of the Cliffjumper mold, I think that it looks a lot better this time round done in the Bumblebee colour scheme. The Battle Mask head sculpt looks so awesome, and I'm really once again hoping that we can indeed swap it out with that of the Off-Road Bumblebee's head sculpt. Dino, I just cannot praise any more than I already have. I think that he looks truly tremendous, especially in robot mode, and I know many of you, myself included, will be absolutely over the moon that Hasbro and Takara Tomy have indeed found a way to actually give us a movie accurate representation of Dino. Of course, it doesn't have the official license by Ferrari. However, much like we have seen with some of the Earthrise figures where their vehicle modes look fairly similar to that of Lamborghinis, and of course with the Studio Series Jazz, that of a Porsche, they're not quite there, and I think that that's what they've done here with Dino, and for the most part, I think it works really well. So overall, I have no complaints really from what we have been shown so far. The 86 movie figures were some of the best that I have ever taken a look at, and these figures here, except for Bumblebee, certainly look as if though they are going to follow that trend. I would absolutely love to know down in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings on some of these newly shown products, and whether or not you are indeed happy that Hasbro have just finally given in and given us a Dino that is not licensed by Ferrari. I would be really eager to know some of your thoughts and feelings down below, and I really do hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.